Shut up and sit down.
You're listening to the Cheaters Never Pin podcast, a proud part of the Section 328 family. Follow us on Twitter at CheatersInVRPin. Now, live from ringside, it's Mr. Workrate and JC. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Cheaters Never Pin. I'm JC. Here next to me at the commentary booth, as always, my good buddy, my close personal friend, Tom.
Good to be here as usual, and good to hear your voice. Good to be in your presence, Mr. JC.
Well, if you wanted to hear my voice, you could have just listened to Cheaters Never Win.
Nah, I'm not going to do that.
Shots fired. Well, welcome to the show tonight, this morning, whatever time you're listening to us. We're glad you found us, and we're glad you're here. Whether that's on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, SoundCloud, YouTube, or wherever finer podcasts are sold.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to listen to us. I mean, you could probably go to JC's place if you want to listen to it live as we were recording, but
that is true.
Maybe,
you could sit here in the studio.
But,
the Section 328 West headquarters, I believe.
Yeah.
That's what the sign on the door says.
I don't think there's any tolls or anything, so.
No, not at all. Well, we got a good show for you tonight. We're going to get you ready for No Mercy, and then we're going to do a match exchange. Easy show tonight, Tom.
I like easy. Easy works for me.
So, we're just gonna dive on in, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Let's do it.
If we could do a lot of fluff around it or whatever, but we've got some stuff to talk about, and it's kind of late as we're doing this, so
it's true.
You
didn't almost get thrown out of a softball game this week, so don't have story time.
Right. Well, in case you were curious, Thursday's game, we won.
Hey.
And Tuesday's game was actually a great comeback game where we came back. So we won both games this week, and the season's over, so there's no more softball stories to share.
Oh, until next year.
Yeah.
When season 2 of Cheaters Never Pin will be going strong.
Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise.
Tom, we've been doing this since January.
That just seems unfathomable to me.
I know, right? Wow, and it's almost October. Jeez. Good times. Well, on the road to the season 2 is No Mercy, emanating this coming Sunday, tomorrow, from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, a Raw brand pay-per-view. Before we dig down deep into the card and give our predictions and our thoughts on the build and everything, Tom, what are your overall thoughts on the card?
I think you can split it halfway. Like the back end of the card, the main event and the stronger matches near the I would assume end. I don't know. They tend to spread matches out differently nowadays, but like the good matches are very good, but the other half of the card is relatively weak, I think. So I mean, a card can be carried by one or two good matches. So we've got a handful in there, and I think I think overall it looks to be a good card.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna be a good show. I did learn today. I think it was today. Maybe it was yesterday. Apparently, Vegas books now put odds in the amount of stars Meltzer is going to give a match. So if the Vegas book is to be believed, this is going to be maybe the greatest pay-per-view of the year.
So, like, you got to figure Meltzer's got to get in on the action somehow too, don't you?
I mean, I would hope Big Dave's that smart, right?
I mean, that can't be true Vegas odds. It's got to be some weird, like, British or, like, Isle of Tonga kind of
Yeah, I'm not
bookmaker.
right.
Vegas cares not, especially for something like professional wrestling. I mean, when you talk about, like, England and places like that, they'll take bets on anything. So, but
did you just call the entire country of England degenerate gamblers?
there is a industry that caters to those people that is striving in the UK.
That's true. If you've ever illegally watched a UFC pay-per-view like I do every time they're on, you will see the stream of constant betting advertisements from the weird UK stream I'm watching.
Yeah.
Live from the Section 328 West headquarters.
Better than the weird Russian advertisements I would get when we were watching, what hockey tournament was that? Was it the World Juniors maybe? I don't know.
Probably.
But yeah, it was like trying to find streams on that, and it was like these weird Russian sites, and like you'd watch it for 2-3 minutes and a giant like pop-up ad would just show up in the middle of like the feed for some Russian thing. I don't know. Maybe it's, yeah. I probably set the election process back another 4 years by watching hockey, but oh well.
Political hot takes now available
Woo!
at cheatersneverpin.com. So let's go match by match. And let's start with the match that was announced through a push notification to my phone on my lunch break at work today.
Wait, you have another job outside of Cheaters Never Pin?
Oh, right, yeah. I forgot that this totally pays all of my bills and my rent.
Totally. I'm getting another floor added to my house just for the proceeds I'm getting from the
just from that
fat Patreon payments.
Yeah, all those Amazon stuff people's buying. Y'all people buy a lot of stuff on Amazon.
Can you not buy houses on Amazon?
Maybe a tiny house. I don't know.
Yeah, one of those like shed-looking things that they do on like the A&E channel or whatever.
Okay, we're going to have to save that for the ad read so I can look it up at the same time. All right. Apollo Crews, with the leader of Titus Worldwide, Titus O'Neil, will be taking on Elias on the pre-show.
Now, see, I could see Titus wanting to sign Elias because we've already branched out into so many other branches of Titus Worldwide with professional athletes and musicians and the actors and professional chefs and things like that. So
this is very true. This is a big power play by Titus. Urrah, urrah, urrah. So Elias is totally going to win this match, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Elias is getting the quality push right now. And as much as I like Apollo, and I don't know, at a different point in time, I mean, Apollo Crews is weird because, like, he's Ahmed Johnson, except he's actually fit and can do wrestling moves and speaks clearly.
Right.
Like, all the negative things about Ahmed Johnson, who was pushed to the roof back in like the late 90s. Like all the negatives about him you can eliminate with Apollo, but Apollo's a opening match wrestler right now for WWE because he doesn't really have any kind of gimmick going right now. He's a guy who's kind of just happy to be here and can do kind of cool flippy type moves, even though he's built like, you know, a 250-pound wrestler.
Mm-hmm. And my thing is, even if he had a worthwhile gimmick right now, is there really a spot for him in the main event?
No.
Is there really a spot for him near the top? Yeah, so I mean, might as well just be doing this. It's exposure, puts him on TV. Cool. Yeah, Apollo.
And he'll get his spots in.
Yeah.
And he'll look good in the process. He just won't get the win because Elias will find a way to cheat or something like that. Or
what? No. Elias needs to go full Jeff Jarrett and just start bashing the guitar over people's heads.
He says, and you flipped the freak out when he actually did it the one time to Finn Balor, so...
Well, just do it to anyone but Finn.
Right.
Please don't hurt my baby.
So, yeah.
The Intercontinental Championship will be on the line when The Miz defends against son of Kurt Angle, Jason Jordan. We're in a couple months. We're finally going to find out. Oh wait, it's not his son, right? Because this is not getting him over. It's not getting anybody over.
We're going to find out that Hornswoggle is his son.
Oh my God! Please bring Hornswoggle back for that. That would make me so happy.
That Hornswoggle is actually Jason Jordan's father.
The anonymous Raw GM is actually. And by that I mean the actual laptop, not Hornswoggle. Just all kinds of questions in that plot, but whatever. It's wrestling.
But yeah, I mean, here's a thing where, again, you go two completely different directions. You have Jason Jordan, who is a fine wrestler for what he is and, can work pretty well, but is the most vanilla of personalities, and the whole thing with Angle is just not getting over. Nobody's believing it, and, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, the silence when Jordan enters an arena is so sad. It's just no reaction.
And, I mean, Jordan's gone through this before. It's why it's taken, 5 years for Jordan to get to, the main roster, because he was sitting in NXT with fine wrestling talent, but no ability to get over whatsoever.
Right.
Until the thing clicked with Chad Gable and American Alpha, which, by the way, I always hated that name.
You hated American Alpha? I like that name.
I mean, I assume they needed a name for marketing reasons or whatever, but yeah, it just never worked for me, and I don't know.
Alpha males, they're American wrestlers. Anyway.
So they're the American males? American males?
American males. When we do our first live podcast, that's totally our entrance music, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's remember that, because we're not going to remember that.
Make a note.
Okay. I'll put it on the whiteboard here in the office.
Good job.
Also, I feel really, and it sounds really shitty of me to say this, I feel really bad Miz is stuck with this crap. Because he has been on such a rise lately that then, he's lowered to the level of needing to be in this feud to try to get Jason Jordan over.
But part of me thinks that this actually adds more to it, because it adds more to his argument. Because the next promo he cuts is you got to put John Cena and Roman Reigns in a match. You got to put Brock Lesnar, and Braun Strowman, has only been in here for a year and a half or whatever. And he gets Brock Lesnar. I've been here for so long. I'm the Intercontinental Champion. And what do? I have to wrestle freaking Jason Jordan. It just adds more onto it.
Yeah.
So I could see it almost being this kind of dick over thing where it's oh, well, congratulations on beating Jason Jordan. Your next, feud is going to be with, I don't know, Enzo Amore or somebody at that, level. Really? You're sticking me with him now?
Yeah. So, who's leaving with the strap, Tom?
I really hope it's not Jason Jordan. They realize that this push isn't working. Like, I could see them do. I could see them doing the Rocky Maivia and putting the belt on him for no reason, seeing if the belt will get him over. But
yeah,
otherwise, it's the Miz would eventually have to get it back from him, and that would make his 8th reign, and it's getting kind of ridiculous. If Miz drops the belt anytime in the near future, he's not getting it back, I don't think, anytime soon.
no. I honestly think the Miz will probably hold that belt until it's time for him to go when his kid's born. But I totally feel like they're going to let Jason Jordan have this. The belt makes the man, goddammit.
I don't know. I think they do keep at least their ear somewhat to the crowd, and they realize that, I mean, it's not the negative heat that a Roman gets, where you still have half the crowd actually cheering him. You have massive indifference. You have what I wouldn't even call X-Pac heat at this point, because there were people who liked X-Pac. Like, and X-Pac could work his ass off, and actually, with him in DX, it actually, he was popular for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's nobody's saying, wow, let me buy some Jason Jordan merch. It's not happening.
Does he even have merch?
I don't think so.
All right, hold on. This is something we got to check, because that tells you how much faith they have in somebody. Because, I mean, they love loading people up with merch.
Well, I mean, they had American Alpha merch, and they've still got a decent amount of Angle merch.
So I searched Jason Jordan on WWEshop.com. 0 things come up. If you search him, if you actually start typing in Jason Jordan into the search bar, his picture doesn't even come up. It's just, did you meet Nia Jax? Which is an entirely different point altogether.
I would buy Nia Jax more as a competitor against Miz for the Intercontinental title than Jason Jordan. Absolutely. In fact, I would actually actively want to see that match.
Yeah, now I want that to be a thing, Tom. Bro. All right. Next up on the card is the Raw Women's Championship.
Speaking of Nia Jax.
Right. See, look at that. It's supposed to be a fatal 4-way. It's now I think it's still a fatal 5-way. Right?
Yeah.
It's not like a fearful 5-way. But anyway.
No, it's not a filleting 5-way or...
Wow. Alexa Bliss defends against Sasha Banks, Bayley, Nia Jax, and Emma's there too. Bayley gets added to this match. Oh yeah, because she got cleared and just showed up.
Because you can do that, and nobody knows how the hell to book the women.
Yeah. Well, they're in a multi-person match. That's how you book women. Duh. Have you not watched SmackDown, Tom?
Because, according to professional wrestling, women are extremely catty and hateful of each other. So whenever one gets something, all the other ones want it. So therefore, all the other ones have to be put together. Like,
right.
It's, I mean, with Raw and the way that the women are being booked right now, they cannot seem to have any kind of consistency with anything outside of the Sasha Bayley thing, which is that lasted way longer than I expected it to. But I mean, like, Alexa and you have Nia Jax, who like 1 week is like a protector, and then the next week is turning and wanting a title match, and then the following week, oh, she's the protector again, and then the following week after that, she's turning again. It's like, stop trusting her.
Yeah. Alexa, you look real dumb. Stop looking so dumb. Not you, not lady in the Amazon device. Please stop talking to me. Who's gonna win this?
I think Alexa retains.
See, that's my thought too. I can't unless they give it to Bailey. It's either Bailey or Alexa, right?
Yeah. Unless they decide to get real weird and put Emma over for no particular reason.
Dude, when they had the brawl, she wasn't even out there. They have no faith in her, as sad as that is. Like, they have the entire brawl Monday night where everyone comes down and Bailey shows back up and Emma is completely missing.
Well, I thought that was because Emma was still in Australia at the time.
Maybe. That's a good point, that they were there. So maybe she was still at home.
Because they had made a point of her saying that she was staying a little bit longer for...
Okay, yeah, I missed that.
I don't know if it was for promo reasons or she actually wanted to stay to be with family, that type of thing, but...
Okay, I missed that. But they didn't even, mention her during that. Still, commentary didn't even bring her up while all that was going on, other than to say she wasn't there.
I mean,
it
bring
wasn't
it up
even...
and say why she's not there.
Yeah, it wasn't even so we've got these four, and then you've got the X factor of Emma. How does that factor in all? We don't even go into that. We just totally skip over it. So she's absolutely not winning.
But bro, what if she did? Bro.
Vince Russo. Vinny. No. You'd have to hang her on a pole. Neville will defend the Cruiserweight Championship against Enzo Amore. Yep.
Have you seen Enzo's new shirt?
No, I haven't. I still have this tab open, so let me take a look. Please describe it for the listeners at home.
The Enzo shirt, and again, I'm going by memory. I'm not looking for it right now.
I see it.
I think it says on the front, cup of sauce.
It says, I got the sauce.
I got the sauce.
What?
And then the back is just in big letters. And then on the back is a can of what looks like Chef Boyardee.
Yes.
But it's Enzo.
Mm-hmm. It's Enzo Amore mussels marinara with meatballs. Why?
I look at some of the WWE shop t-shirts, and some of them I look at and go, wow, this is a really cool shirt.
This is not one.
And then I look at others and I go, you're just doing it on demand to see if somebody will actually purchase this thing. This is a rib. This is
right.
We can do anything and people will buy it.
This is them, and I feel like they're starting to get into this habit, and I hate it. Letting marketing drive the character rather than the wrestler drive the character, which drives the marketing. Because now he's going to be talking about his sauce all the time.
Well, I think they needed to do.
He's mentioned it before, but it's not been a thing, and I feel like now it's going to be a thing.
They needed something desperately to give him, because all the gear that he had, all the merch they had were Enzo and Cass.
Right.
And all that stuff is on super clearance for $4.99 now. And like it or not, he still sells merch.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's, as of right now, still very popular. He still gets the pops and everything like that. So that's why, part of me was shocked when they did the cast turn, because of all the merchandising that they basically gave away from that, because Cass isn't going to sell merchandise on his own. And
what?
At the time they had I think 5 different Enzo and Cass shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Not including the headband Enzo hair thing.
Oh God!
And the gold chains and all the other various, dime store crap that they would put out. And all that stuff went immediately into the clearance section because they broke up the team. And now, like, I was listening to the most recent Bruce Pritchard podcast where they were talking about Jeff Jarrett and how much heat Jarrett got when he came back to the WWF the third time, second time, I don't know.
Yeah.
Where basically I guess it's the second time because he went to he was in WWF, went to WCW, and then came back to WWF again in like 98 or whatever.
Right.
When he started teaming with Owen and doing that. Had Deborah and all that. And when he first came, he cut this huge, like, shoot promo about all the crap that he was tired of and how he was tired of WCW and he was pissed at the way he was treated by WWF. And he talked about Austin 316 and how that offended him because it was blasphemous, and he was, as a Christian, he couldn't believe that they're making money off of insulting the Bible like that, and just kind of ripped on that. And apparently he goes in the back, and Austin wanted to beat the shit out of him because you don't fuck with someone's merch. Like, that's the cash cow. And Austin makes money off those shirts, and WWF makes money off those shirts, and those are by far the number one selling shirt in all of wrestling, pretty much.
Yep.
And you just put the thought into a decent amount of people's heads that, when you buy that shirt, you're kind of insulting God and the Bible. And it's like, oh, I never really thought about that. And, the moment you think that, even if you take like 1 out of every 10 people that were going to buy that shirt and make them reconsider, that's 10% of the t-shirts that you were going to sell that aren't going to sell anymore. That's money out of your pocket.
Yep.
So merch matters. I mean, and that's why guys like Enzo are still going to consistently put out there into this position, because they're going to say their catchphrases, and they're going to do what they need to do, and it gets them over. I mean, do you think with all the shit that's going on behind the scenes and what they've dealt with Enzo in the last, 9 months, that Enzo would still be working for this company if he wasn't selling a shitload of merch?
Exactly.
And getting pops the moment he walks out the door?
Yep. If he wasn't making Vince money, he wouldn't be there.
He'd be Adam Rose. Exactly.
How you doing? Yo, hey, welcome to Moe's. How you doing?
Yeah.
Who is leaving with the Cruiserweight Championship, Tom?
Oh, God.
I mean, it's got to be Neville. Right?
I want to have faith in the world and say that it's Neville. And I think that it is Neville.
You made Enzo look like a complete joke of a contender when Strowman fucking murdered him for no reason Monday night. Which I couldn't stop laughing at.
Yeah, I mean, I think Neville has to take it because, I mean, Enzo's got the pop. Enzo doesn't need the belt either.
No.
So he's going to go in there, and it's not like he's been dominant. He just manages to get wins at this point, the way that he's been being pushed there.
Right.
So I think on a one-on-one case, I think Neville's going to
retain.
Yeah.
Let's pray. Let us pray that is the case. All right, let me pull the card back up. I'm just staring at the t-shirt. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt in a paint off your face match, I guess. Because Finn will be out there as a man. Not as the Demon.
In a business casual match.
I feel like they got to give Bray his win back as much as that because this is WWE, but it is also Bray Wyatt at pay-per-views.
Okay. So here's the reason I think Bray winning actually works for me.
Okay.
I mean, yes, Bray gets his win back, but I think, we saw with the last pay-per-view that Demon Finn Balor beat the shit out of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt couldn't do a damn thing.
Right.
And it was a glorified squash.
Right.
So now you have Bray Wyatt face regular Finn Balor, and Bray Wyatt can do what he wants to and do his little trickery or whatever, and he wins the match. So it just goes to show you, and certain other friends of ours that go, well, what's the difference between Demon Finn Balor and regular Finn Balor except some pain? Like, no. This is the difference, that regular Finn Balor is going to have a little bit of trouble with Bray Wyatt, but if you bring the Demon out, there ain't no stopping him.
Right.
So it gets over Demon Finn Balor.
Yeah. And
should Finn Balor beat Bray Wyatt normally? Yeah, but then again, remember too that it hasn't been that long that Bray Wyatt was the fucking champion of SmackDown.
Yep.
So
right,
Bray Wyatt
was WWE champion almost a year ago.
So Bray beating Finn, it wouldn't be a horrible thing. I know it would be a horrible thing for you, but it wouldn't be a horrible thing in general, especially if
I would in the right even as much of a mark as I am for Finn. Like, if they're building two characters in the process of doing that to further tell greater stories in the future, I'm fine with that as a fan. Like, yeah, at the time I'd be like, God damn it. But, like, if there's reasoning and it's not just some stupid fuck finish bullshit like they do, like, I'm good with it. Like, if you're going to do something like that, make them both look strong. Like, have a reason for it.
Right.
If you're going to make it 50-50 and then come Monday, they're both going in different directions again. Like, what was the point?
Yeah.
The only reason you want to go 50-50 here is to keep it going.
Yep.
But I imagine they end it because then we got to start getting ready for Survivor Series. And you would imagine Finn is on Team Raw for Survivor Series, right?
I would think so, but I don't know. Maybe
assuming there is a Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series match, which I would assume that.
I would hope so. But
yeah, that was awesome last year.
Yeah,
because the Undertaker came back and said SmackDown's my home, and then he never was on SmackDown again. Oh boy. The Shield defends their tag team titles against Cesaro and Sheamus.
Call them by their proper name.
The Shield versus The Bar. Yes.
Sideways thumbs.
I would assume the Shield retains because there's no reason to take the belts off of them.
No. They're the wacky tag team, but right now this is what's getting them over. And as much as it kind of sucks to think that two guys like Ambrose and Rollins weren't getting over, and they were getting over a little bit in their own, they were kind of going in circles and there was nothing for them. Mm-hmm. This works fine.
Yeah, it's the same thing I said about Apollo Crews earlier. Like, there's no other place for them right now. Like, the top of the card is logged in with Strowman and Roman and Lesnar, like, and Cena, who's on Raw now. So, still give them some importance with the belts, because at least with them holding the belts, they still feel important.
And the thing is, too, with the belts, it keeps them together. they lose the belts, there's no reason particularly for Ambrose and Rollins to tag or be together for any reason.
Right.
And you want to keep the two of them together because that leaves the glimmer of hope in people that Roman's going to come around and the Shield actually is going to be back.
Oh, God, that'd be great, Dom. How awesome would that be? I still want it. I want it every day. You know what else I want?
What's that, Jason?
A book about tiny houses from Amazon.com. Since I can't buy a house, I want to know how to build one. And I'm looking at the Tiny House Design and Construction Guide. It's $25.01 paperback, free with Prime shipping.
Ooh, Amazon Prime. That's a good investment.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead. I think I'm gonna go ahead and click this link and buy it here.
Well, how did you get to Amazon? Did you just type Amazon.com into your browser, or is there a different way to do it?
Well, of course I did. Like, how else would I get to Amazon.com?
Well, I think if it were me personally, I would go to cheatersneverpin.com, and while I'm browsing the quality content that gets put onto cheatersneverpin.com, like these particular podcasts and on rare occasions actual articles that we might write here and there's also a link to Amazon.com. And what you can do is you can click on that link to Amazon.com and it brings you to Amazon.com. No additional typing necessary.
Oh, okay.
Just to bring you to the Amazon.com webpage. And that Amazon.com webpage looks exactly the same as it would if you typed Amazon.com.
Oh, it does.
What it does is allows us here at Cheaters Never Pin, when you purchase something by going to the Amazon.com website that way, when you purchase something, a tiny little portion of that sale goes to cheatersneverpin.com. So it allows us to put a few shekels in the bank so that we can pay hosting costs and maybe buy another microphone so that we can do this in the same room one day and do all kinds of fun stuff like that. And on your side as the purchaser, it doesn't cost you an extra cent. That extra money that is coming to us doesn't come out of your pocket. You're paying the same amount of money you would as if you went straight to Amazon.com. But you know what you're doing? You're throwing us a little bone here. You're saying, hey, I'll do this one little extra step just so you can get a few cents. And for that, we appreciate it and we thank you.
That was good teamwork on that ad read, Tom.
Yeah.
We put that on the tee and fucking smacked it out of the park.
I was unprepared for an ad read, but
I know that worked really well.
Yeah,
that was good. We're good as a team.
It's the ones you don't prepare for that actually kind of roll a little bit. It's the ones that you think about and it just gets awkward.
That's why we've stopped. I don't know if you all know this at home because you probably don't because you don't have access to my notes in iCloud. I don't do show prep anymore. And I think show quality has improved greatly over the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's when we're running down sheets, and I mean, I will pull back the curtain here a little bit. I don't do shit for this podcast.
Yes, you do.
I call up JC on the Skype, and I go, is it time to do the podcast? He goes, time to do the podcast. And JC goes and he does the recording and he does the editing and he uploads it to the 700,000 little areas that carry our podcast that you can listen to it on. All I do is talk. And JC would go and he would produce these show rundown notes type things. And he would send them a couple of hours before the show would run. And I'd go and I'd take a look at it and go, yeah, it's pretty cool. And I mean, back in the days when we do the 10 count, he'd bust his ass to find all these little like news clips and things like that. And every once in a while, I'd be like, I've got 9. Find one for me, Tom. Do something. and I'd find one thing, and I'd be like, here's this Mexican wrestler who died. Is that good? And he'd be like, yes. And we'd get all excited because somebody died.
Then I'd be doing more research because, like, who the fuck is this?
And sometimes I'd just make up a name because it sounded Mexican. I mean, how much do you know about guys that wrestled in Mexico in the 60s? Nothing. So we can bullshit this all day long.
Yeah.
But we don't do the 10 count anymore because our podcast got way too long and y'all weren't listening that long anyway. And to be quite honest, we weren't either. But it allows us to not only put together a podcast, which maybe you can kind of stomach in like one full commute, both to work and back home. But it allows us to, I mean, we're having more fun doing it. It's not taking us forever to do it. And when we have fun doing it, I think it's more fun to listen to. It becomes less work and it becomes more of an enjoyable experience. And we want you guys to have fun when you're listening to it as well. So
heck yeah.
If we're having fun, we think you're having fun. If you're not having fun, well, screw you.
Yeah. You know what I've been having a lot of fun with lately?
What's that,
John Cena versus Roman Reigns.
Okay.
Holy shit. I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited for this match.
Tell you 3 months ago that statement. What would 3 months ago you have said if you had said that to him?
So we didn't know they were going to let them let loose like this, though, or quote unquote let loose. That there was going to be this work shoot thing around it, right? So even when it looked like this was going to be a thing before we got to that point, I thought it was going to be shitty. Like, oh, okay, cool, face versus face, and we're going to pass the torch. Awesome. Now I want these two to beat the shit out of each other because they hate each other in kayfabe.
Remember, fans out there in podcast land, it's always a work.
Yeah.
It's always a work. Even when it's a shoot and you're going, oh man, he really meant that because it's true. Yeah, it's true. But it's a work anyway.
Yep. Because Vince has allowed it to be on TV. So, you know.
When The Miz grabs the mic and proceeds to start shooting left and right, they've already gone over it beforehand, and Miz has said, these are things that I'm going to say, and Vince and whoever's doing booking there, I don't know, are going over it, and the writers are going over it. They're going, okay, that's good. And then he goes and he does it. It may not be word for word. He may not be writing it down, a script, but yeah, it's he's not going out there ripping a new asshole and then going back in the dressing room and everybody goes, oh shit, I didn't know you were going to say that.
Yeah, he's not saying a bunch of shitty stuff about Kurt Angle just to do it.
No, this stuff is all kind of gone beforehand and gone over with, and Roman knows that Cena's going to mention things, and Cena knows that Roman's is going to mention things, and it's good business for both of them.
Yeah.
They realize,
they're making each other money.
Feelings can get hurt, but and that's what causes shoots, I guess, necessarily to happen. Because when somebody turns around and shoots on somebody else, says the comments or whatever, and it's not to build a match, it's not to do anything, it's to turn around and say something, maybe it's about somebody. When they would do these things, when they would talk about, like when we had the WWF, WCW, Monday Night Wars or whatever, and somebody would decide to say stuff in WWF, they decide to say something about WCW, and it's like, oh, they're shooting on them. Well, yeah, they're shooting on them because it's not helping their business any. It's not selling a match. It may be selling the TV show a little bit, and that's where that may have been encouraged a little bit, because if they go, oh, well, they're actually talking shit about the competition, I want to watch this because this is not something they would normally do. Yeah, but if somebody's saying some kind of comment towards somebody else and nothing comes out of that, like if the Miz starts talking about Finn Balor for some reason and they're not in a feud and no feud comes out of it, then it's a fucked up shoot because it's just somebody saying something and not making any money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
If Miz turns around and starts saying stuff about Finn Balor that seems like, say, a quote unquote shoot, and Balor gets pissed off and he starts saying something back, and then they end up meeting at the next pay-per-view, it's all planned because they built that pay-per-view and it makes you want to see it. 3 months ago, we would have looked at Roman Reigns and John Cena and been like, why the fuck do we have to watch this? Like, it would have been a fine match, but at the same time, like, if we heard that they were doing promos back and forth, it'd be like, oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a giant Cena sucks, so does Reigns, back and forth. Just the crowd getting over themselves than the two guys were.
Right.
And that didn't happen because they let them kind of go in a different direction than they normally would, and it's been entertaining. But it's the same type of stuff that they've done with Miz, and it's starting to creep into a lot of the booking now, and it's worked with some people. It's worked with Miz. It's worked with these two. Working less so with somebody like Dolph Ziggler, but it's a different direction that they're going in, and well, I don't know. It's going to work with some people and it's not going to work with others.
Right. Yeah, it's been fun. I'm excited for it. I think a lot of how was I going to phrase this? It's not crazy shoot because I think Cena learned a lot about not saying shit like that out loud like he did when he was feuding The Rock, which he later apologized for and regretted that were actual hurtful shoot comments. And he's obviously a much older, wiser, more mature performer than he was 7 years ago, whatever it was at this point.
All right.
But yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be fun. And it's going to be a great match. Neither of these guys have had a bad match on pay-per-view in forever, except for Cena in the flag match, and that's not his fault because it was a flag match.
Yeah, it's a gimmick match. And it's going to entertain the hell out of me because you're going to have people that swear up and down that, oh, I don't want to see this match, because they hate Cena for the reasons that they've forgotten by now, and they hate Reigns for the other reasons that they've forgotten by now. And it's going to pain them so greatly when they put together what could potentially be like a 4.25 star match.
Oh, for sure. Here's exactly what's going to happen. We're in LA, so we're in front of, this is not Corpus Christi, Texas. These are smarter fans, right? Or smarkier fans is how I should put it. Everybody's smart these days. They're both going to come out to a chorus of boos. The match is going to start. There's going to be nothing but boos. Then they're going to start working, and everyone's going to be like, this match is really good. These two are good wrestlers. And then it's going to be cheers. It's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're going to get the near fall. I mean, and the thing is, too, it's not them getting pissed off at Reigns, because the main reason people are pissed off at Reigns is because of his Superman push and that type of thing. Like,
it's the same reason people used to get pissed off at Cena.
Yeah.
It's the same shit all over again. So
when it happens to one of them, it's going to be at the expense of the other. So while you're sitting there going, oh crap, he's going to win, you're like, but the other one is going to lose as a result. And it's going to balance itself out. So yeah, I am looking forward to the match because, again, I think it's, like you said, it's going to be a strong match, and it's going to be probably, yeah, I'll say it. It'll be the best. It will probably be the best match on the card.
Yeah, I think so too. Who's going to win? This is a tough
Roman.
one. Yeah, man.
If
That's
I had to throw $5 down, I'd say Roman.
Yeah. I agree. I think this is the passing of the torch. And it kind of sucks that we're doing this at fucking No Mercy and not at a pay-per-view that actually like means something. But it'll mean, as long as the match is good and the story has been good, it will mean something. So that's really what matters the most. But I'd rather them do it in front of more eyes than this.
Well, I'd kind of want them to. I don't want it to necessarily be the last match between the two of them. I want them to have a decent match, and
this could be the start of something building to Mania.
Yeah,
which would be awesome, especially if they have a good match here. If they have a very good match here, and the idea is, yeah, we're gonna put the strap on Roman at some point, and what's going to happen is then Cena's going to challenge him, and that's going to be the build to, will Cena break Flair's record, or is Roman going to continue to make this the Roman Empire?
And if you have
then you concluded at Mania, because you have this, then you have a match at, I guess, TLC is Raw's this year.
Yeah.
And there's the Rumble. Like, heck yeah. I'm down for this.
I mean, you could almost have Cena in kind of the babyface of the two, just in that, like, he can't beat Reigns for whatever reason. Like, say Reigns goes over him this time, they have a good match, Reigns beats him this time. So then at TLC they fight again for whatever reason, and Reigns wins again. And then say Reigns wins the title at the Rumble.
Right.
And Cena potentially wins the Rumble. So you build that match, but it's like Cena doesn't have Reigns' number. So, but then you have that build going, okay, well, Cena's got a shot to win this, the 17th title reign, which would put him again over Flair. And maybe Cena's like, well, I'm going to try to get it again. Roman gets pissed off and is like, I'm tired of beating you. It's getting boring. Cena maybe puts up his career against the title. You build it up like that. It's it could be huge potentially, but
yeah, I think there's a lot of good potential here.
Yeah.
Then we get the main event: Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman for that Universal strap, yo.
Oh, car crashes are fun.
This match is also going to be great in a totally different way than the Cena-Roman match is going to be, like an incredibly well-worked match. This is just going to be two men beating the shit out of each other, and it's going to be great.
Again, this is going to be the closest thing to a literal car crash that you can see between two human beings.
Yep.
Because, I mean, there's not going to be that much in the ways of, like, I think back to, I can remember watching recently some All Japan with Steve Williams taking on Kenta Kobashi, and Steve Williams pretty much using a backdrop driver to drop Kobashi on his head on a regular basis, like literally on his head, not on his neck, not on his shoulders where it'd be safe. No, just drop him straight on his fucking head. But at least those are wrestling moves. These guys are going to throw each other, and yeah, you'll get the released Germans and things like that. But I mean, there's just going to be a shitload of throwing each other and pounding and throwing and pounding, and it's going to be stiff as hell.
Yep.
And it's going to be fun. It's that's the type of match that, again, it's not work rate necessarily. It's not near falls and things like that. I mean, you're still going to have near falls because They're going to damn near kill each other, and somebody's going to be thrown off of something, and you'll get a 2 9/10 count.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you're not going to have small packages and submission holds and things. It's just going to be clubbering, as Dusty would say. It's just going to be a whole lot of clubbering.
Yep.
Take them to the woodshed.
Is Lesnar
if you will.
Is Lesnar finally going to lose his belt here?
No.
I want to think it's going to happen here, but I tend to also think no.
Because I don't see Strowman with the strap. That's the only reason why. If there were no belt involved here, I see Strowman winning the match. But I don't see Strowman with the title.
See,
I could see
yeah.
a schmaz here and a no contest for whatever reason where they both practically kill each other, which would suck in the sense that, like, you're ending a pay-per-view with a non-finish. But if it's that amazing where, like, you have some huge spot where both of them, I don't know, fall off a stage or, something like that, or both of them get run over by a freaking ambulance driven by Roman Reigns or whatever the case may be.
That would be amazing. Just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Roman just crashes with a tractor trailer.
But I mean, I could see that potentially happen. It's times like this I wish Money in the Bank were still around.
Yep.
Because that would be a great way to get the title off of Lesnar.
They could add
because you have him battle with Braun, and the two of them practically kill each other. Then all of a sudden, a guy like, ideally it would have been a guy like Seth Rollins would run out with the Money in the Bank because he's a slimy little bastard, and cash it in and be able to take the title away without Lesnar being weak necessarily, and without having to put the title on Strowman, who, I don't know, maybe they will put the title on him. I don't think they will, at least not right now. But
yeah, I mean, that's my thing. I don't think the time is right, but someday he will absolutely have that belt.
I mean, the way they're pushing Braun right now reminds me of the initial push for The Undertaker, where he pretty much murdered everyone and no-sold everything. It was just this unstoppable monster to the point where even Hogan couldn't necessarily stop him. But he wasn't putting the title on him, just kind of put them into a hole. So
yeah,
they started screwing around with like referees and technicalities and things like that. So yeah, I don't know. I think Lesnar retains, but through some kind of tomfoolery that keeps both of them strong.
Yep, I agree. Cool. Well, that's No Mercy. You know what else we got tonight?
Let me brace myself and go, what?
Match exchange. Time for a match exchange. Tom, what did you watch? Because I honestly don't remember.
You gave me a
I remember. Okay.
PWG match between Prince Devitt and Ricochet.
I believe
that's the
Ricochet.
Japanese way of saying it.
Ricochet.
So I looked real hard, and I found one that had about 7 minutes worth of clips, but I didn't find a full match necessarily.
Oh, because the full one was Rev Pro, I think. Anyway, you get the idea.
Yeah, it was one of those. And I mean, it's just fun as hell. I mean, Devitt, obviously, or, Finn Balor, whatever you want to call him, Fergal. I like to call him Fergal.
Such a great name.
Is just the health worker that he is, and then just works so well with Ricochet. And Ricochet is just, I mean, he's someone that I think you have to kind of go at if you've not watched like Japanese wrestling necessarily, if you're not a Japanese wrestling fan, and you haven't watched Lucha Underground because you actually like well lit matches, just go watch Ricochet. I mean, he's kind of that happy medium where he's not a boring wrestler. Like, yes, he can do mat work, but he's also a high flyer and kind of just does all the strikes and everything like that, and just kind of has that full package. But he's not a Will Ospreay where he's kind of a, just flip flop everything. He's
not a cat.
He's kind of got that whole little bit of everything. He's more like, I liken him more, I guess, like would Jericho be a good, like, early Jericho?
Yeah,
where
I could see that comparison.
Like, where he could do the mat work, but he also did the high flying, but he wasn't necessarily reliant on the high flying. I don't know. It's just hard for me to find comparisons, but yeah, just seek him out. And keep your fingers crossed that maybe by next year he'll be in WWE.
Well, there is about a month left in Lucha Underground. I believe this is the end of Prince Puma, because it's a career versus title match between him and Johnny Impact. Johnny Mundo.
Johnny GWF.
Johnny Anthem. Johnny Owlman. Of course, it's not GFW anymore.
Right.
So, yeah. So we could see Ricochet down at the Performance Center soon. And then if they could bring in his girlfriend too, that would be great.
Yeah.
And then you have those two just be a faction and murder everyone, and it would be amazing. His Ricochet, his girlfriend is Tessa Blanchard. It just occurred to me, everyone may not know what I'm talking about.
I thought so. For whatever reason, not physically appearance wise, but mentally, I get her and Ellering's kid mixed up.
Rachel, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, they've wrestled each other 3 million times.
Yeah, and I guess, it's a second generation thing, and
Tessa's third, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
I watched Taz versus Chris Candido from ECW.
SummerSlam 99.
Yeah, the Internet Fan Convention. Candido had issues with the Internet fans who had been talking about him, so he made his return to the ECW arena, accompanied by Tammy Stitch, who clearly is beginning her downward spiral at this time.
Yeah. But she was fun to look at around that time.
I was like, you're still fun to look at, but it's not as fun as it was. But anyway, Taz decides we're going to make this, or Candido actually says we're going to make this, ECW rules if we're going to do this for the title. So the match goes throughout the arena, throwing people over the barricade, including one spot, which I was alerted to, which I need to screen grab and put on the website, obviously, of a very young Mr. Workrate, Tom Edwards, really, really happy that I think at this point Taz was working over Candido.
Yeah, Taz actually backdrops Candido onto the bleachers, back down the bleachers.
Yep. Our young Mr. Work Rate, suffice it to say, marking out.
Holding a portable, like
Fujifilm disposable camera.
Disposable camera. Yep.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. Good ECW match. Even with the ECW rules, it wasn't as crazy. Well, I didn't even touch the ending of the match. Candido goes to do the stretcher job after having a quote-unquote neck injury, which had been re-injured during this. Taz ends up ripping him off the stretcher and throwing him back in the ring. And then you can barely hear the promo he cuts after it. Or the Taz cuts. But, yeah, good little match. You know, for ECW, you think a lot of crazy hardcore stuff. This was just a brawl, and less kind of ECW, quote-unquote. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was cool. It's fun to watch. Anything from ECW arenas is interesting to watch at all times. That place was truly a different world. And to kind of give you a little bit of backstory into that too, the bleachers that we were in, and I had touched upon this in the ECW episode that we did. When you get into the bleachers, you're kind of cramped in there and you don't move. You're just kind of in your spot. So they do this spot into the crowd where they start working their way up the bleachers for God knows why. And we don't really have anywhere to move necessarily. So people are kind of moving over to the left a little bit because they're pretty much at the edge of the bleachers as they're going up. So people part a little bit. Like there's like maybe like one or two people to the right that can kind of get as close as they can to the edge there. And then the people to the left kind of can part a little bit, but they keep going back and going back and going back. And I'm trying to find a place to move. And you can only move so much. So we got back. I ended up moving back like about a row or two. And Candido's back is coming, like Taz is fighting him up. Candido keeps going back up the bleachers. So he keeps going back, and I can't move. Candido literally backs into me. Yep.
And I can't move because there's nowhere left to go. The people that are behind me are up against like the wall of the arena. And we either fall off the side or climb on top of other people. So that Candido bumping into me is pretty much the signal to Candido that we've gone as far as we can. So then the two of them just start brawling directly in front of me. So yes, I'm marking out because these two guys are brawling like 15 inches away from me.
It's hard not to mark out when a brawl like that happens in front of you. I had, I think this is when Sheamus and Cesaro were feuding over the U.S. title a few years ago. I was at a SmackDown taping in Greensboro, and on Main Event, when that was still a thing that was live on the network, they had a match that ended up getting counted out directly in front of me. We're both on the WWE network, Tom.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
I'm on there a couple times, and I made a point to point out the Yankee hat, did you notice the shirt I was wearing?
Yes, I don't know the logo. I was trying to decipher.
That is a quality franchise Shane Douglas t-shirt.
I knew it had the F on it.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, so that was one of the shirts that I did not mention on the ECW episode that I owned. Right. So because I was a Shane Douglas mark because he was a shooter, brother.
Yeah, why wouldn't you be? What do you got for me this week?
So we didn't go into really much detail, or any detail, to be quite honest, about a pretty big news event that happened this week, and that was the passing of Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Right. Yeah, shit, we didn't touch on that at all.
Yeah.
That's what happens when we don't do show prep, Tom.
Yeah. Possibly the greatest managerial mind that there was. If you've just seen him from like Nitro, it hasn't even cut into what the man used to do.
If you've seen him on Nitro, forget that. Go to the network and watch Primetime Wrestling with him and Gorilla immediately.
Yeah. And the thing that people don't realize either is that, and it was starting to get brought up a little bit, was how good of a seller Bobby Heenan was. Because Bobby Heenan wrestled as well. Wrestled actually pretty frequently in the AWA before he came to the WWF and became predominantly a manager. He would wrestle every once in a while, usually as a tag team partner of, say, Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy or somebody like that. And he'd kind of get brought in, and kind of near the end of his active wrestling days, he would do kind of gimmicky matches. I think one of the last times he wrestled like the Ultimate Warrior, and like it would cause him to wear like a weasel suit or something like that. But I mean, like, he would take these bumps that like Shawn Michaels like bumps, where like he's flying over the top rope and just sell like a madman. So my match for you, and it may not be the greatest match in the world, but WrestleMania 4, March 27th, 1988.
Okay. Oh, that was like a month after I was born.
The British Bulldogs of Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid team with the Birdman, Coco Beware. So for those of you keeping score at home, 1 dog, 1 bird, and 3 wrestlers.
Sorry, I don't know why I thought that was so funny.
Take on Bobby the Brain Heenan, who is actually wrestling in this match, and the tag team of Haku and Tama, the Islanders. Haku being the man later known as Meng, or I don't know, he was other things, but yeah, Meng, don't fuck with him. And Tama being the former Tonga Kid, who was one of the Samoan family of thousands or so that have produced every Samoan wrestler that you've ever heard of.
Except for Smojo.
Yeah, because he's from SoCal.
Right.
Burp, 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 burp.
Bum, bum.
So yeah.
Okay.
6-man tag team match, and yeah, Bobby Heenan's ring attire a little bit different than, because he would normally wrestle, when he would normally wrestle in this, like, it's funny, he wrestled in a singlet very similar to Andre's when Heenan managed him, that black singlet with the single strap. Sorry about that. Single strap over the shoulder. That's what Heenan used to wrestle in. But his ring attire a little bit different in this match.
Okay. Cool.
What you got?
I have for you the full title defense match from IWA.
The Imaginary Wrestling Association?
Sure. AJ Styles defends the IWA World title against a young up-and-comer named CM Punk.
Never heard of him.
Maybe Phil Brooks? Does that ring a bell?
Oh, the MMA guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
Yeah. the undefeated MMA artist.
AJ Lee's husband.
Yeah. Lol.
Gotcha.
Got his ass kicked. Yeah. Fun little match. I've watched it before, and I was like, I don't think I ever gave this to Tom.
So wait, this is the IWA
Mid-South. Correct.
Ian Rotten's promotion.
Yeah. Yes. This match happened 12 years ago.
So this is the only match in the card that does not involve razor wire and broken glass.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, you could bet it's Punk and AJ. Like, it's a good match.
Yeah. No, I had heard about these matches. I mean, CM Punk was wrestling that's where he pretty much made a name for himself originally, in that Midwest area with IWA, and remember him doing indie shows for my friend's promotion in Wisconsin and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Tell the people where they can find you on the internet, Tom.
Go to the Twitter machine, look for at Mr. Workrate, at MR Workrate. Go to Instagram, where I actually posted my first picture in probably about 4 months.
Wow.
I'm Mr. Workrate there. I'm Mr. Workrate in lots of different places. I mean, you try to stay with the same name. So,
Mr. Workrate in the sheets.
In the dirt sheets.
Hey.
Hey. I know terminology.
I'm an insider.
I'm a smark.
It's not a thing you should be proud of. You could find me on the internet at JCBOBBITT on Twitter, Instagram, anywhere. Find our social media is Pervade. You could find both Tom and I drunk in a parking lot on October 7th.
I'm counting down the moments to that.
So being part of the Section 328 media empire, I think it is important to mention, of course, the hockey season for the Carolina Hurricanes will be open, and I'm sure many of you that listen to this know about that because you know us or you know Section 328. We're going to be out before the game, probably start about noon or so. Tailgate really kind of kicking off around 3 or 4. Saturday, October 7th, as the Hurricanes open their season. We'll be out there tailgating. It is a celebration. You as a listener of Cheaters Never Pen are also welcome to, because it's kind of a celebration of Section 328 as the global media conglomerate it is. And we wouldn't have it without you. So we've got our friends at New Belgium Brewing coming by, providing tasty beverages and games and things for everybody. We have our friends at Donato's Pizza, providing lots of tasty pizza for you. So come on by and have fun.
Yeah, I mean, the whole crew is going to be there. It's going to be a whole lot of fun.
But you're really there for Tom and I.
Yeah.
And
we'll sign your stuff.
I'll sign any stuff. And you interpret that however you want.
He will literally sign your stuff.
I will. If you donate at patreon.com/section328 or by using the Patreon button on cheatersneverpen.com.
Depends on whether or not he'll use his initials or his actual full given birth name.
That's true. I may sign my full given birth name for $20 when you go to cheatersneverpen.com and click the Patreon button.
See, I was just making a reference to the size of things, but you know.
Oh.
You do whatever you want for the money that you need.
Isn't that what life is about, Tom?
The money's for nothing.
Isn't that what wrestling is about, Tom? All right, let's get
all about
here.
That payola, about the pay window.
Go take it to the pay window, baby. All right. Disintegrated quickly.
We're getting a little punch drunk now.
Yeah, it's after midnight. That's I think the latest we've ever done this show. So yeah. Thank you for listening. We will be back next week with our recap of No Mercy.
We'll bitch and complain.
We'll bitch and complain. No, we won't. It's going to be great. The books say it's going to be great, Tom.
Why would the bookies lie?
Exactly. Maybe we'll actually touch on Bobby Heenan, too. I might go through and watch some stuff. I totally forgot about that, and I feel like a horrible human being.
And they just recently today uploaded some stuff onto the network, so...
Oh, that'd be fun. Definitely watch that.
And if you're listening to that right now, go check that out. Check out some Bobby Heenan.
Yes. So, for all of us here, myself and Tom, we hope you have a wonderful day, evening, morning, night, wherever you are, and we'll catch you on the flip side.